Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Not My Problem. As a young adult, I decided to move several hundred miles away, on a whim, without a new job lined up. Fortunately, the relatives I was living with knew a ton of people in the small town and were able to get me a job within a week at the local grocery store. I was to be a courtesy clerk, bagging groceries and stocking shelves. Immediately, I made friends with co-workers, and some of the customers weren't too bad either. However, management was a different deal. The HR manager would waste a customer's time telling them recipes for the items they have and holding up the line. She would also call me from the back of the store to bag 2 items and help the man barely older than me to his car, despite him protesting. There was also John, the general manager. John would be nice in groups, but if he got you alone, his true colors would show. He once berated me for having a 5 o'clock shadow, even though I shaved right before work. My hair is dark and grows quickly. Sorry dude, can't help nature. After a few months, the night janitor, technically early morning, quit. John decided it would now be my job to polish the floors every morning. My previous job was at a movie theater, so working from 5 PM to 2 AM was normal. Mornings? Not my jam. This would require me to be at work by 4 AM, but I was told this would be for 1 to 2 months tops. I was even thrown a sweet 5-cent raise for my troubles. How could I decline? After a month, I asked John how the search for a replacement was going. He says probably 2 weeks and everything will be settled. After month 2, I asked again. John says the first person fell through and suggests that maybe I know someone who might be looking for a job. I assure him that is not the case. After the 3rd month, I was completely over it. Again, I approached John and explained that I cannot keep doing this much longer. He replies, "Not my problem. Find someone else or a new job." This set me off, but I wasn't in the position to walk out right then. I figured I'd start applying anywhere I could. A couple of days later, my relative drags me with them to go look at new cars. While discussing prices and waiting for the sales manager to respond, my relative and the salesperson were just talking, and I mentioned what John had told me about the job. The salesperson raised an eyebrow and walked away. Moments later, the sales manager approached and said they were looking for a detailer and asked if I was interested. It would be a regular schedule, no evenings, and higher than even my previous theater job as a manager. While my relative was signing financing paperwork, I was filling out a new hire packet. I was to begin work on Tuesday of the next week. When I got home, I packed a bag and began driving to my hometown to visit friends. I knew I wouldn't have to work for about a week, because at midnight I called the grocery store and told them I would not be returning to work. If you have any questions, please ask John. A year or so after my departure, John was mysteriously no longer working at the store. Nobody knew why, as he had another 5 years before retirement. One day I had to go to the bank to deposit a check, and John was the teller. It was so fun to watch him deposit my paycheck from my new employer. The next story is called Safety Meeting. I work for a decking products company. We make stuff so people can build their own decks. It's a warehouse job, and I'm the shift lead for the 3rd shift. Our previous production manager used to do safety meetings once a month for all the shifts. He was terminated, and it took us about a year to promote the 2nd shift lead to production manager. Most of the time, he's laid back. But now he insists on me doing the safety meetings for the 1st and 3rd shift, because we have a 30-minute overlap window. We didn't do the safety meetings at all when we didn't have a production manager. A lot of 1st shift have poor attitudes or don't speak English very well, and I don't speak Spanish, so communicating with them is challenging. I'm an introvert, so these hour-long meetings are draining, and I actively dislike doing them. I expressed my concerns about the language barrier to my production manager, and he keeps pushing them on me, despite the fact that he speaks Spanish and I don't. He also doesn't care what the topic is, he just tells me to choose. It seems like he's doing everything he can to push all the responsibility onto me. So I did our meeting this week. It was about severe weather and cold conditions and how to avoid the dangers involved. We are located in Florida, specifically the Tampa Bay area, where we don't see snow or work with any refrigeration units. I handed him the sign-off sheet after the meeting, and he didn't even notice the topic. The third story is called By the Books. I work as a software engineer in a mid-sized tech company. My boss, let's call him John, is known for his strict adherence to company policies and procedures, often to the point of absurdity. He insists that every single task, no matter how small or insignificant, must be documented and approved before we can start working on it. One day, John assigned me a task that was relatively simple: updating the color scheme of our app. Normally, this would take me about an hour to complete. However, John insisted that I follow the company's full software development process for this task. This meant I had to write a proposal, get it approved by several departments, write test cases, conduct testing, get approval from the quality assurance team, and finally deploy the changes. I decided to do exactly as John asked. I spent 2 days writing a detailed proposal for the color scheme update. I then sent it off to the various departments for approval, which took another 3 days. Writing the test cases and conducting the testing took another 2 days. Finally, getting approval from the quality assurance team and deploying the changes took another 3 days. In total, a task that should have taken an hour ended up taking almost 2 weeks, because of John's insistence on following company procedures to the letter. When John asked why it took so long, I simply told him that I was following his instructions and doing everything by the book. From that day forward, John became a bit more flexible with how strictly we needed to adhere to company procedures for minor tasks. The last story is called Just an Admin. Many years ago, I worked in a company's IT department. Part of my duties was to add new users to the in-house software system. I get an email from somebody in the company to say please add Samantha to the system. I thought that I knew everyone who worked in the building where this person emailed me from. The email didn't give specifics as to what parts of the system Samantha would need access to, so I created the credentials and told the person that it was done. A week later, one of my colleagues asked why I didn't add security roles for Samantha. My response was I was only asked to create a user account. I'm just an admin, not a psychic. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.